Hi, and welcome to another channeling video. Today, we're gonna do the audience's favorite. We have Bahar with us again. She's gonna come in a little second. And before I do that, before I bring Bahar in, as per public demand, I'm gonna just tell you about the offer for this week. So this week we have the Remedies course on offer. So the Remedies course is for whoever feels like they have some really tricky placements in their chart. So if you have something that has really been giving you a lot of trouble throughout your life, you have a difficult pattern, or it could also be in synastry. So anything in your chart that has previously up until now felt like you're doomed to repeat a certain pattern, or you're really struggling with anything, the Remedies course is for you. So you get the tools as to how to turn any challenging situation into and transmute that energy into something positive, or at least neutralize it and get the blessings out of it. And you'd be surprised as to how you can turn something really negative into a positive. So this is really what got me into astrology, seeing my chart and what a mess it was, and then being able to sort of turn that around to, yeah, to make like a really tangible difference in my life. So the Remedies course is for you if you need that for yourself, or if you're a professional astrologer and you want to offer this kind of help for your clients. It is on offer this week for $149. So it's a good time to go for it if you want to if you want to use astrology to make a tangible difference in your life. And now we want to bring in Bahar. Welcome, Bahar.
Hi, good to be back.
It's great to have you back. People loved it. I thought it was fantastic. It was, as I mentioned earlier, it was a little scary because I had no control. I don't know where we're going with it,
Yes.
what's coming out of my mouth, but it's so exciting.
Yeah, we got some mind-blowing answers, I feel like, and I'm very curious to see what we get today.
Do you feel more comfortable in being the representative for the viewers' question? And do you feel more comfortable experimenting with the role?
Yeah, and now that I got some positive feedback, I feel a little bit reassured. So thank you for that, everyone.
People really loved it, and people really felt like you really added something really positive. I think one person said this was the addition that we didn't know we needed, or something like that. Yeah,
That's
something
so,
along those lines, that we didn't even know we needed this. And I kind of feel the same.
oh, I'm very grateful to be here. This is a great experience for me too. I've
Awesome.
never I've never done anything like that, so this is totally new and exciting for me too.
I think life has so many things planned for you. I want to tell the viewers also, you just had a solar eclipse on your vertex point, which I
Yes.
think, so this is a pivotal moment where in the future you will be able to look back around this time and see how your destiny shifted, you know?
Mhm.
But for now, maybe it doesn't feel any particular way in the moment with the vertex point. But as I said to you, Bahar, but I didn't tell the viewers, when I had Jupiter transiting my vertex point, that's when I got in touch with Lada. And she is kind of Jupiter to me. She is my guru in a way. She's my teacher. She publishes around the world, so that's very Jupiterian too. So and it has shifted a lot for me. So the vertex point is really awesome.
That's
Anyway, I'm just talking too much.
amazing.
People want to get to the questions, so if you're ready, Bahar, we
Yeah,
can get started.
let's do it.
Okay, let's see.
Okay. The first question is, why do we only use a small percentage of our brain?
We we don't only use a small percentage of our brain, but we only perceive parts of the brain's activity.
So how much are we really using?
We are using all of it. It would make no sense for us to have an organ that has no purpose or is only partially useful. We are using all of our brain, but the psychic stuff you don't want to acknowledge. And so, if you're looking at the acceptable ways that you are using your brain, yes, you only use it partially. But for the woo-woo stuff that you use your brain for, you're pretending that that's not happening. And so you don't count that. So when you receive intuitive information and guidance or other non-acceptable uses of your brain, you don't count that, but you are using your full brain. How can you even convince yourselves that you're only using a part of an organ? Why would nature create a full organ to only use a part of it? Nowhere in nature is this the case. The fact that you can convince yourselves of this speaks to humanity's delusion and the extent to which you are willing to go to deny psychic phenomena and your intuitive and spiritual side.
Can we get more details on the woo-woo stuff? In which ways are we using our brains maybe subconsciously?
All of the psychic and intuitive powers such as telepathy and telepathy, picking up on thought forms and emotions, communicating with people psychically, receiving information, contact with your higher self, receiving guidance from your spirit guides, even working up math problems. You use your full brain for all kinds of things, but in terms of your conscious brain or your conscious activity, only some of it is apparent to you. But it's also because the vast majority of the things you use your brains for, you are actively avoiding looking at or acknowledging. If you could relax a little about what is acceptable consciousness, and if you could relax a little about how small you want to be and how powerless and insignificant you want to be, if you could allow yourselves to be a little more significant, more powerful, and more bigger, then you would not have to hide so much from yourselves, and you could incorporate more of your brain's activity into your conscious awareness.
In what ways are we communicating telepathically with other people?
You are oftentimes talking to the people that you are thinking of. When you are thinking of someone, it is often the case that your higher self is talking to them. And while this communication is taking place, you both may feel that you are thinking of each other. And this is why you may sometimes think of a person just before they call you.
And when we sometimes think of a person randomly and we can't really explain why, is that because they are thinking of us?
It is because we are in contact with them already, only not in a conscious way. Whenever you are thinking of someone, you are connecting and communicating with them. Your thoughts are not trapped in your head. Your thoughts are energy, and energy is free, and energy will go wherever it needs to go. It is not limited to time and space. So when you think of somebody, that is a connection you are making with their energy, and so they can feel it and you can feel it. A thought is never just in your head. Just the thought itself is a communication. And so whoever did the thinking first, whether they thought of you and then called you, or whether you thought of them and so they called you, whoever thought of the other person first is making a psychic phone call, and you are picking it up every time.
So, is there no way to shield off these energies that we receive from other people?
On a conscious, in a conscious way, yes. But in the spirit, in your higher self, so to speak, the aspect of you that is unlimited, you don't need to shield yourself off because you do not have limited time, energy, and awareness. And so you can be aware of multiple things at the same time and not be overwhelmed. But in your human awareness, you have limited energy, understanding, and time, and the communication is not always pure and loving and direct. And so it is harder to have a human conscious conversation than to have psychic telepathy, because with the telepathy, you get straight to the point, and it's always loving and direct and caring, and there's never any judgment. Whereas in your human conversations, there is judgment, and there is a lack of love, and there is insecurity, and there are all kinds of feelings that bring heaviness to the communication, and so distorts the message. And so a lot of things go unsaid. But psychically, you can have pure conversations, and you do all the time. And that's why a lot of the conversations that are needed don't need to happen on a conscious in a conscious way. They are dealt with psychically, and understandings are reached psychically to save you from having a awkward conversation.
Interesting. And how can we bring these psychic messages into our conscious part of our brain when we feel confused, for example?
When you quiet your mind, it will be apparent to you. You will have clarity. And with that clarity, you will know what you need to know. And you will feel what you need to feel. And you will have the awareness of the psychic conversations although that awareness is usually in the form of a feeling rather than a conscious awareness. You will feel that a matter is settled between you and another person rather than knowing that it is. You will just feel settled, even though no conscious conversation has taken place. Did that answer your question?
Yes, I think so. Thank you. All right, the next question is, what's the reason behind us having different blood groups?
Not sure I can interpret this one. If you can try and simplify the question in some way, I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. Why do some people have a very rare blood group, such as the rhesus negative blood type?
Blood is connected to life force or something like that. Don't know why, but I'm having difficulties reaching the core of this one. Maybe if we rephrase or try it from different angles, I'm not sure.
Did people with different blood groups evolve in a different way?
Yes, it's also related to their positioning on Earth, their location, their geographic place on Earth. That some blood groups are connected to some geographic areas and others to other areas.
And
Roughly.
is there a spiritual purpose behind us having different blood groups?
There are different abilities that come with different blood groups. There are certain talents that are more prevalent for some blood groups than for others. There are abilities for different blood groups. Some blood groups are more earthy, earthbound, and don't know how to explain that. And others are more, yes, connected to other societies away from Earth. Some blood groups or a blood group is more connected to other non-human societies. And so they have more of a connection and they are less grounded, less earthbound in a way.
Which blood type is that specifically?
I am confused as to whether it's A or O, but I'm getting the two kind of like opposites. One is more grounded to Earth and one is more connected to other societies. And I'm getting A and O, but I'm not sure which is which.
Interesting. And what kind of abilities do these people have with the blood group that is connected to other societies?
They can communicate with other societies and pick up information, but it all happens at a subconscious level. So they are not consciously aware of doing this, but they can receive instructions or guidance from other societies and act on them.
Interesting. Okay. Talking about other societies, can we talk to a representative of the Pleiadians?
Mm-hmm. 1 second. Okay.
Hello. So, what's your view of our human society's evolution currently?
So I'm struggling to find a particular representative. Might be better to use like the collective.
Mm-hmm.
Should try to the collective, the Pleiadian collective energy.
Can we channel the collective Pleiadian energy?
Yeah,
Okay,
I have it.
so what is your purpose of being here on our Earth?
We are related, and so in a way, we are with our family. And what is your job or task is also to some extent our job or task, because we are family and we help each other out.
And what's your view of our current evolution spiritually of humanity?
We love you. We see that in some areas you are still lacking in understanding. We have no judgment about that, but rather we see the suffering you are causing yourselves as a result of it. And so we feel very compassionate towards you in terms of helping you come to the awareness so that you do not cause so much suffering for yourselves. We want to help you with working with developing your love power. Love is a power, and although we all have it, you are quite unaware of the power that comes with it and how it will free you in many ways and how it will empower you in many ways. And so, because your love muscles are undeveloped, your societies are very disempowered and chaotic, and you are experiencing how not much is in your control because of your weak love muscle. With a stronger ability to love comes stronger power. We want to help you with that so that you can feel like you have some control over what you are doing, because we see how you are causing yourself so much harm and not have any power to do better.
And how are you helping us develop this love power specifically?
We work with individuals, and for the most part, the main focus of our work is watching you from a distance and softly guiding you. We do not want to interfere much because we recognize that in order for you to truly develop, the insights have to come from within yourselves. And so, while we could interfere and stop you from causing yourselves harm, you would not learn to do it yourselves. And so, for the most part, we watch from a distance. But where we can guide you and support you by gently nudging you in the right direction without interfering in your development, then we do so. It can happen, for example, in a message from one of your leaders. It could be a formal leader or an informal leader, as in somebody whose voice is heard. We can get our message into their words, and in that way sway people towards connecting with the heart and empowering their hearts a little. And we do that in gentle ways. And that would be one example of how we try to nudge you in the right direction without interfering with your development.
And how do you select the individuals that you work through?
We select them strategically. We usually select people that have a specific function in your society, people that can influence many people. So we don't usually go on an individual level just to help one specific person, but rather we try to influence the collective mentality. We select these people by looking for those that are close enough to our message and who just need a bit of inspiration, so to speak. An example could be public speakers who have heart. We helped Martin Luther King. His influence on people, while he was a very intelligent man, what really made him memorable to people was how he spoke to their hearts. This is one example of how we might work with your own leaders to sway larger numbers of people.
Wow. And where do you see the future of our society heading?
From our perspective, you are developing quite slowly. To your own perspective, you also feel that you are developing slowly because you are all suffering from the lack of love in your society. We do see you constantly improving, and we do see more and more light coming into your experience. But as a collective, as a society, you are taking baby steps. However, as an individual, you are not limited to the speed of your collective, and you can develop at your own pace.
Wow, that's beautiful. The last question to you, is it true that you are connected to the planet Pluto?
No. We are curious, however, as to the connection. We are connected to the Pleiades. What is the root of that question?
Which planet in the solar system are you connected to?
We are not connected to your solar system.
Oh, I see. Are you connected to a planet in another solar system?
Yes, we are connected to the Pleiades.
Oh, is that a planet in itself?
It is a cluster of stars, cluster of stars and planets. I have to jump here in the middle as M. It's a cluster. It's like a collection of, that's what I'm seeing.
Wow.
And I think my own not being sure is also sort of getting in the way of the clarity of the Pleiadians answering that clearly, I think.
Okay, I see. Okay, let's move on then. Thank you so much, Pleiadians.
Thank you. They have a super loving energy. Very, very, very loving energy.
Wow, it's beautiful.
Mm.
The next question is, how many lives can we live at once in the multiverse?
4. I'm getting 4, but that makes no sense to me. You can only live 4? Sorry. Okay, you do the question, sorry. 4 is what I'm getting.
Wow, that's very specific. Why 4?
There is a purpose to everything that you do, and you are achieving that purpose with 4. 4 will get you the maximum benefit, development, and focus. There's no need to do more. You could do more, but there will be no purpose whatsoever to do more than 4. However, if there is a purpose for doing more than 4, you will. If there is a purpose for doing less than 4, then you will, but 4 is usually the upper limit of what would make logical sense for you to experience at the same time.
Wow, okay. And do our actions in this life affect the course of our other lives?
Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that if there is a purpose for it, then it will. And no, in the sense that you are not limited in any way by anything past or future. You are not limited to what you have done in the past. So in that sense, no. Nothing is an absolute restriction on you. But yes, in the sense that it can do, if it is useful to you, if it is stimulating to you, if it develops you, then yes. However, if this is the case, then it will be for a positive purpose and not for the purpose of restricting you.
But What is the exact purpose of living 4 lives at once then?
Sometimes the 4 lives at once is 1 or 2 lives in different dimensions or versions of the same 1 or 2 lives. The purpose is usually no deeper than it is fun to your soul. It is stimulating to you. It is exciting and it's fun.
Wow. So can we choose what life we want to experience?
Yes and no, in the sense that, yes, you do always choose. But from the point of view that you are asking it, you usually do not choose in the same way that you think of as choosing from where you are. You do not necessarily choose a life based on the prestige you will have in the life or how special the particular lifetime will be. But it's usually the opposite that will be intriguing for you to pick. It is usually a simple life with a, well, to your point of view, it will be considered simple, and its challenges will be considered very mundane to you from your human perspective. But from a spirit perspective, these are the most rewarding lives. And sometimes the lives that are most prestigious to your point of view, such as lives as royalty and such, might, from a spiritual perspective, be quite uninteresting because they lack in complexity and they lack in depth and they are overly superficial. And so, from Spirit's point of view, prestige is completely uninteresting for the most part, unless there is a complex and juicy challenge to be gained from the prestige.
Interesting. And can we choose to meet someone who has died in this dimension?
Of course, but what do you mean?
Can we choose to meet that person in a parallel life in another dimension?
Yes, people passing away from your experience is nothing more than them just being unavailable in one form. They are still just as available in every other form.
So,
That means in parallel lives, in your dreams, and in your telepathic communication, they are just as available as always. It is just in one form that they are not available.
so even if their soul is reincarnating in a different body, can they still reincarnate as the same person in another dimension?
I am not sure I understood. If you can reincarnate as the same life,
Yes.
relive,
Is that possible?
it is possible and it has happened when there is a purpose for it. That can happen if there is a specific purpose for it. Sometimes an important purpose can be achieved with this. It's not usually the case. It is not a common thing, but yes, that is one thing that can be done if needed.
So, what can be the purpose for this?
Sometimes one must explore two varying choices and the full consequences of both. So it might be, for example, that a person in their lifetime reaches a crossroads where they have two options that will lead to very different consequences and very different lives. And so they might have to experience two lives where they choose the two different alternatives and live a full life from then on. And so there might be, in that case, a purpose to experiencing both and learning from both.
Wow, I'm mind blown.
As for your previous question, as we understood it, in terms of can a person who has reincarnated still be communicated with when they have passed away? For example, if you know somebody who has passed away and their soul now reincarnates into a new life, can you still communicate with this person? Yes, you can, because your soul is not limited to one body, and the personality that was incarnated as this person that you know, they still exist in spirit, while their soul can at the same time be a different personality. And so spirit is not limited in that way, and we may need to explain this in many ways according to, in order to get you closer to the understanding of the limitlessness of the spirit dimension. But content with we will be content with asking you, answering your questions as they come, rather than making a futile attempt to making you all understand what you in your human experience cannot understand. The spirit is completely limitless, and so for most of your questions, when you ask, is it possible to, the answer will usually be, yes, it's possible.
Wow. Okay, I think this is a great place to end this for now because we're short on time, but I am mind blown. Thank you so much.
Wow, Bahar, do you want to come back?
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Uh,
I mean, I did want to go deeper in the end because this was like, but honestly, my brain is very, I feel like I need to process this first. I
yeah,
couldn't even like come up with more questions because I was like,
yeah,
my mind is expanding too
yeah.
fast. I can't keep up.
But it's so awesome how I think it's also good to know we could have had more questions prepared. I think it's things happen faster when I work like this with you rather than because when I do it by myself, I can only do like 5 questions.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's good to know for next time. But I agree. I feel like it goes in whole like completely different directions, and it's exhilarating to be a part of it. You know, to just see it happening. But it's also like there was some questions where I wasn't getting the reply, and I'm sort of questioning myself, like, am I getting in the way of the answer because this is like bigger than me? Or like, I think one of the Pleiadian question was like that. I don't know. It's just a lot mentally,
I
isn't
feel like
it?
I don't know if you feel the same, but I feel like when we do this together and you're the
Mhm.
passive channel, I feel like you are receiving either more or you're somehow
Mhm.
going deeper, that it's hard for
Yeah.
you to select and like translate what you're receiving. That's how I feel. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I feel that way too. It's I feel more disconnected from myself and more like um, in the flow of whatever's happening.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like the only thing I can keep my mind on is the like the very moment and what's coming out in the very moment. And sometimes I forget how the sentence started. And sometimes it's literally like word by word. And it's like, um, it's exciting, but it also is like I feel like a great responsibility to, you know, do it like give as much information as possible, whereas I, I'm not in control. Like I'm really not in control, but I still feel like I have the responsibility to give people what they want, but it's like it's not up to me at all. So,
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's okay for you to, because you have to always be clear about that, that you're just the
yeah,
channel and you
yeah,
cannot, you just can, it's not in your hands and spirit is talking through you. And I really felt
exactly.
that, when you asked
Yeah,
me, like, I'm not sure we understood your question. I really felt like
yeah,
spirit was talking to me. I was
yeah.
like,
Yeah, that's how I
yeah.
feel too. And also, of course, I get very aware that like I can only they can only use what I've got in my head, you
Mhm.
know? So the words that I've got, or even though sometimes it's really funny because they get really creative with words in a way that I like sometimes they joke and stuff
Yeah,
in a way.
yeah.
Like the first question when it was about like how we don't want to acknowledge the other percent of the brain that we're using. I thought that
Yes,
was
yes.
hilarious.
They were a little cheeky, and then they
I
said
love
something
when they
about
do that.
juicy
Yeah.
challenges. I was like,
Yeah.
oh.
I love when they do that because it's like then I'm like, I would never have thought of that. Yeah. But
Yeah, you
yeah,
wouldn't expect that.
it was so fun. I just want people also to know that obviously me being a human and I'm a person, so there's always going to be some limitations with whoever is channeling, you know, even although I tend to, you know, it's going to be a version of whatever truth or whatever is possible to come through me, you know, but it's we
And I
try to
think,
be as objective as possible. Yeah.
yeah, and I think like the last question really pointed that out again when Spirit was saying that it's endless and that we
Yeah.
are limitless beings, and whenever
Yeah.
we ask something about is this or that possible, it's very like
Yeah.
from our human perspective. And I think
Yeah.
there is no way for us to understand and grasp the ultimate truth of everything, that
Yeah.
it's limitless and
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
limited beings. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And
it's
I
very
think that that's
interesting.
what's so cool about these channelings. I don't know since when, but at some point I just started seeing things differently, you know, seeing life differently. And, you know, just my attitude to things are just shifted in a way that it's like, it's more magical now. I don't know.
Exactly. I wanted to say
Yeah.
exactly that word. I see it
Yeah.
more magical. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's so awesome. Oh, I want to thank you so much, Bahar. And I want to say to the viewers, you know, give Bahar some props because even though it might seem for a viewer that she's just asking questions, there's actually like a whole way of asking questions. Like there are appropriate questioning formats and like the right kind of vibe or curiosity that needs to be there. So she's actually like really directing the flow of the entire channeling. So she's sort of like directing where we are heading, although of course we never know what's coming out. But you know, she's navigating all of that for us in order to give the viewers most possible value out of this. So do give her some props for this. She's a fantastic collaborator on this, really. And we want more of your questions. And Bahar, what do you think? What kind of questions do you like when people ask? What would be interesting for you?
Oh, I always love these questions about time and like multiple lives. And I think anything that like challenges our perception of
Yeah,
how we live our lives, because
yeah,
it's good for us to get sort of pulled out of our, programmed idea of
Yeah,
what our life is about. And I
yeah,
think it helps us also to gain more power over our lives and live it in a more magical way.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm a Pisces, so I'm all about that.
The magic,
The
yeah.
magic, yes.
I want to say also, like, you have a strong impact on what information we are able to dig into as well. So I want to say to people, if you have loved the past, like this and the past video, uh, Bahar plays a major part of that. Like, it's a major part of that because it's really like our combined areas of interest and like, Bahar is really, you think very much outside of the box. And so you can make, leaps that maybe the usual person wouldn't think to do. And so I think if people loved these two, it's really a great deal. Thanks to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I
And
also feel our energies connecting when we do
yeah,
this. I really
yeah,
feel it. Yeah. Even though
yeah,
we're like on a video chat, it's amazing how like energy is just not bound to space or
absolutely.
time. Yeah.
Absolutely. I also think that it's like a lot of things I don't need to even explain. You just get it.
Mm.
We haven't needed to like plan or, just it's just we just turn up, we talk a little, and then we record, and then it's
Yeah. Yeah.
we're even like
Totally.
synchronized with our outfits. We're wearing
Yeah.
uh yeah, bare
It's true.
shoulders today, both sides.
Wow.
Okay. So want to remind people about the Remedies course. I want Barry to stay on. Just want to remind people that the Remedies course is on discount now. So if you have a challenging like aspect, or like I do, have Jupiter in the eighth house, that can be really difficult unless you know how to make the most of it. So if you have things like that you feel are, if it makes you feel like it's all doom and gloom, don't worry about it. The Remedies course might be for you. So information should be in the link. And thank you for this time. Bahar, do you have any last words?
Not really. I'm very grateful for this session. I'm gonna need like the rest of the day. I'm gonna need to process all of this. So thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. It was very like mind opening as usual.
Yeah, I thought, the first time we did the last time, I felt like the energy was like so high that I was like, I had no idea what people are going to think, because I was like, I felt totally out of my depth. I had no control over where we're going. I felt like really excited, like I had no control over myself either, because I was like super excited and like, but then I'm like, fuck it, let's see what happens.
Yes.
So fun. It's really a great, yeah, and that's kind of how I feel. So it's I like how I can just give up control and let this be what it needs to be. So
That's how it should be. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. That's how I always really wanted it to be honest. Okay, so we're gonna finish the recording here. And thank you, everybody. Big hugs and kisses. Bye bye.
Bye.